Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. Now, I hope you're having a great Sunday or a great evening, but today we're going to be checking out two very interesting devices. You can actually see it on the topic title, but today we have here the newly launched Xiaomi 11T Pro as well as your favorite device, the Poco F3. Now we're going to be taking a quick look at both devices here. Think of this as a casual conversation between myself and you guys. We're going to see what's really different here and which device is actually more suitable for you. Now before I begin, I just have to say something here, and that is that both devices here are actually offering quite a fair bit of performance for the amount of money it's asking. So regardless of whether you go with the 11T Pro or the F3, these are actually devices that will not let you down. Now, before I begin this video, of course, if you like to see videos like this or content like this, don't forget to give the video a like, sub to the channel if you want to see more of my kitchen kind of reviews here, and I'll definitely be more than happy to see all of your happy faces again. Now, let's begin. Very quickly, let's talk about the pricing for both devices here. Now, obviously, you already know that the pricing, the Euro pricing for the 11T Pro has already been announced, but that's not going to be the price for us here in Asia. Now, in Asia, we typically get these devices at a lower price point, so I'm expecting it hopefully to be very close to the price that we got of the 10T Pro of last year, and that is approximately 2,000 ringgit or $480 US. Now, on the other hand here, we have the value champ. This is the Poco F3. Due to all the flash sales that is going on, I would say that it is approximately 1,500 ringgit, or if you are in other regions in the world, that's approximately $350 US. Yeah, just making sure I got my conversions correct. All right, so that's just in terms of the price. Let's check out the design first and foremost. So on one hand here, this is the 11T Pro. You've already seen it. It is very flashy here, very reflective as well. But of course, there are other colors available, so you might not have to go with this one right here. Whereas on the Poco F3, I think you have seen this too many times already, so you know exactly how it looks. Now, the one thing that they have in common is actually the design of the camera lens at the back here. Now, this design on the camera lens right here is the design direction that Xiaomi is going with. But in terms of actual difference, now the real difference here is in the way they feel. So what I mean by that is the 11T Pro here is slightly heavier at approximately 205 grams, whereas the Poco F3 over here is about 10 grams lighter, and that's because it is also slimmer than the 11T Pro. So obviously the reason why this is happening is because we have a larger battery at the back of this 11T Pro, which I'll talk a little bit on later. So just in terms of the design, it's really down to how it really feels. Both devices do not come with headphone jacks, but they do both come with IP53 rated, so you can have some kind of splash resistance on these devices here. Now, let's move on very quickly to the displays at the front. These displays are actually very similar here because in terms of sizes, they both come with a 6.67-inch display, they're both 1080p displays, and they're both Super AMOLED displays. Apart from that, they also both support a 120Hz refresh rate, so they're very, very fast here. In terms of responsive, you'll feel almost the same on both devices here. However, there's just one crucial difference here, and that is the 11T Pro right here being more expensive. The sampling rate is actually 480 Hz compared to 360 Hz on the Poco F3. Another thing that I should point out here is that the AMOLED display on the Poco F3 is actually the E4 panel by Samsung, so that's definitely a great display. The one on the 11T Pro is actually rated an A+ by DisplayMate. So again, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that you're not getting shortchanged in terms of the display quality. They're both awesome, guys. Now let's move on very quickly to the second point and talk about performance, because it is a little bit different here, but also quite similar. Now, obviously, you already know that the 11T Pro right here comes with the flagship Snapdragon 888, whereas the Poco F3 here comes with the Snapdragon 870. Now, I already know what's going on in your minds. Obviously, the Snapdragon 888 is going to be slightly more powerful in terms of processing power, but it also comes with more heat. So I'm just going to very quickly elaborate to you my personal usage. Now, day-to-day use on both devices here, obviously, because they're flagship level, you won't find any issues with launching apps, just browsing through your social media and doing all sorts of stuff. Multitasking is also great. These are actually very powerful processors in both devices here. However, the only difference that you might actually face here is in terms of the heat, because I did find that the Snapdragon 888 on the 11T Pro a little bit more warmer compared to the Snapdragon 870, but I guess you already knew that. Now, again, in terms of RAM and internal memory, both devices here are giving you awesome stuff. We both have LPDDR5 kind of RAM as well as UFS 3.1 storage, guys. So very, very good stuff on both devices. It's hard to actually put one device against the other because they're both really offering you a lot of specs for the amount of money you're paying. So that's just in terms of the performance. You can expect top-notch stuff coming from these guys right here. Alright, next thing we're going to talk about here are the cameras. Now the 11T Pro here has a very powerful main sensor, and you probably already know that through all the marketing that Xiaomi is going through. Well, let me tell you that the main sensor here is actually a 108 megapixel main sensor, and the reason why it's actually quite good is because it is a large sensor. So obviously it's able to pull in more light, and when you take photos, you can see a little bit of background blur on those. It's a natural look. On the other hand, the Poco F3 here, you guys also already know, this comes with a 48 megapixel main sensor that, isn't the best out there. However, in terms of the ultra-wide and the tele-macro lens, they both come with an 8 megapixel ultra-wide as well as a 5 megapixel tele-macro lens. Now, in terms of image quality, I'm just going to show you guys a couple of photos side by side so you can see the actual difference between the images taken on both devices right here. And let me know down in the comment section below which one you prefer. But again, the 11T Pro here comes with a better main sensor, and of course, you'll be getting very, very nice pictures here. Alright, now let's move on to the next point and talk about the batteries in the back, because like I said in the beginning, one has a larger battery than the other. So on the 11T Pro here, we have a 5000 mAh battery, whereas on the Poco F3, we have a 4520 mAh battery. But what's really amazing here is the new technology that Xiaomi is putting in the 11T Pro, and that is their dual cell battery and that 120 watt fast charging. It's crazy fast, guys. From 0 to 100% is less than 20 minutes, and the charging technology really works on this device here. So if you need that super fast kind of charging, you can go for this guy right here. Whereas on the Poco F3, this is actually supporting the standard 33 watt fast charge. Obviously, it's not slow as well. It takes about 50 minutes to go from 0 to 100%. But if you're typically the kind of person who charges your device at night, this might not matter too much to you. It really is down to your personal preference. Alright guys, I think the last thing I want to talk about here is two final items. First up, both devices get very good haptics. So they both have the X-axis linear haptic engine, and it's very, very good in terms of the vibrations. They're short, they're crisp, they're the best in the industry right now for the X-axis. And in terms of the stereo speakers, both come with stereo speakers and they sound great. So those are the final two things that you need to know. Alright guys, at the end of the day, when I look at both devices here, the 11T Pro and the Poco F3, I can't say anything else except that Xiaomi and Poco, they're both bringing you their best game to their smartphones here. Regardless of which device you actually go for, you're definitely, as a user, going to benefit from the amount of specifications that you actually pay for. So these are great devices here. If you're already on a Poco F3, I don't think you necessarily need to upgrade to the 11T Pro. But if you're brand new into the market, it really depends on your budget. If you have a smaller budget, just go for the Poco F3. You can't really go wrong with it, and there are so many users of the Poco F3 out there. Again, if you have slightly more budget and you want to go for those newer technology that's been introduced by Xiaomi, the fast charging, the larger 108 megapixel sensor, then look no further than the 11T Pro. Alright guys, I hope you had a good session here. Again, this is just a casual comparison between both devices right here, and I hope to see all of you guys in the next one. Bye!